Welcome to Real Estate Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters, sharing proven strategies to help you build a better business today. And here is your host, Keith Doherty.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Jerome Smith of Keller Williams, based out of Marietta, Georgia. Now, Jerome has been in business for over 15 years, doing over $15 million business last year alone. Jerome's a relocation, short seller, and military certified. He was also the number one agent for Keller Williams from 2001 to 2015 out of 250 agents. And also in 2014, he was top 25 Georgia real estate agents per Top Agent magazine. Jerome, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Keith.
Absolutely. So, Jerome, if we could get started with, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you knew you always wanted to do, or did you kind of maybe stumble into it?
Well, I kind of got started when I came out of corporate America. I was a regional manager for Blockbuster Video back in the day, and I decided I wanted to do something new. I always knew I could sell things, but I didn't know if I could sell houses. So I went to work for a builder and just started that way. And then a couple of years later, I decided I wanted to do my own thing and step out on my own. So give me the opportunity to spend more time with my family and do the things I want to do, but also it was pretty demanding as well.
Absolutely. So, what do you kind of developing that? What personal attributes or traits or qualities do you think have most contributed to your success, and how do you think you developed those?
Well, I think you first off, you got to get, when you say you're going to do something, you got to do it and do it 100%. Because a lot of times, and I'm straight up with my clients, we probably 90% of our business is referral business, and so we try to do what we can do to make sure the buyer or the seller get everything they need to get them started from a home search and buying process. But it's taking care of them 100% and getting them what they need. Presenting yourself as a one-stop shop agent. So if they need something, you're there for them regardless, and going the extra mile to get things done.
Yeah, I think that's important. What you pointed out there is just kind of, making sure you take care of all their needs and support them in every manner throughout the process. Because as everybody knows, that real estate it's not like just going to the store and buying something. There's a lot involved in the transaction.
Yeah.
So do you think you can maybe give some specific examples of like when your traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Well, I think that being honest with the client right off the bat and not give them a line of, your typical salesperson wants to chatter about things that really sometimes doesn't mean a lot to the actual seller or the buyer. You want to stick to the facts, and you get to know them. You really pay attention to what they're saying and what they're wanting to do, and just, making sure that you really take care of them 100%. And a lot of times they don't know. If we deal with a lot of first-time home buyers as well, and this is their first, time buying a home, then we make sure that we really take extra care of those type buyers as well, and making sure that they know that we're there for them and we're going to take and handle everything for them, and just, going the extra mile and just showing you care. I think when it boils down to being a salesperson, if you show them you care, then they feel much more comfortable and, doing business with you and preferring their friends and family to us.
Yeah, I think what you pointed out there was pretty key, and I think anybody that's listening that's in sales should definitely pay attention to, what Jerome said is that a lot of times salespeople want to talk and you want to sell, right? You want to try to point out all the reasons that somebody should maybe work with you or do business with you or purchase something from you, but to actually take the time to sit down and not talk so much, but to listen and really gather what the person needs that you're trying to work with, and then trying to facilitate helping them with those needs, you're probably going to have a much better success ratio than just trying to continuously, hard sell is what I would call people.
Yeah, it's typically what we do when we get buyers in. We don't run out and show them the house usually on site for the most part. We try to bring them into the office and do a consultation with them first. And what we've seen is when we do that is we only have to take them out probably like 2 or 3 times at the most, and they go ahead and buy the house because we sat down and we explained to them, from start to finish what the process is going to be. And we try to get that, at that point we try to get exactly what their needs and wants are. A lot of times, they would say buyers are liars because they don't know what they want. They buy something they told us they wasn't going to buy, regardless, because we may have not caught what they were talking about. But as you take them out, you definitely get to know. You definitely let them do all the talking and see. Ask them like, what does that look like to you? Or, what do you think that looks like to you? And so that meets your family's needs. Really paying close attention to what they're saying. So listening is key. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's important. So obviously, you've had success over the years, and you've built your business up. Not everything comes easy a lot of times. So what are maybe some major adversities or trials that you had to overcome to achieve the success that you have?
Well, I think, I love to talk, so that's one thing that I had to, really calm down and, listen to the actual buyers and sellers and what they were saying. You got to overcome a lot of things because we deal with a lot of emotions as well, and sometimes I can be, too pointed and be straight to the point, and I have to really, watch what I say because it may hurt somebody's feelings for the most part. But, you really just got to take care of them and just, listen to what they're saying because a lot of times we may be dealing with a divorce situation, we may be dealing with relocation where one partner is happy or the spouse is happy and the other one's not. So you got to make sure that they're, you're paying both attention to their needs, and just, maybe the kids are involved too as well, where, the kids don't want to move. I've had that situation where the kids didn't want to move or they didn't want to buy the house. So you kind of, got to listen to what their needs and wants are as well. But it's really, tough to, kind of weigh everybody's out, especially when you're dealing with a family because you've got so many people that are certain things mean to them. So you got to really pay close attention. But at the end of the day, pretty much so, if you pay attention to what the wife's saying for the most part, she's the deciding factor usually in the transaction. The husband's usually the financial person. But, definitely, hone into what she's saying and what she's looking for because at the end of the day, we know we're going to try to do what we can do to, make her happy for the most part. But it's just, listening is the main key and just, doing what you say you're going to do is the main thing. I mean, that is absolutely key in this business. I can't say that enough. I'm selling, families, 3 and 4 or 5 houses. I'm selling their kids' houses at this point in my career. And they were just babies when, I started. So it's definitely, if you do what you say you're going to do and just, follow through and get everything done for them, and the more you can do for them, the better off you'll be because, it just takes the stress off of them, and then they'll get to a comfort level where they'll do exactly what you ask them to do. So it works out great.
Yeah, I think what you pointed out there was important. Again, it kind of goes back to that, just really to sit down and understand what, what the person really needs and their desires so that you can try to facilitate that for them.
Absolutely.
So, kind of a little bit more into that, though, what, did you, during your success as you've built up your real estate career, have you had any obstacles yourself, any, thing personally in your business, down markets, things like that? Has anything like that kind of slowed you down a little bit?
Yeah, well, again, I have 2 girls, so, that's, I have to struggle a balance between, being a good dad, and that's been my biggest struggle in this whole career because, when everybody wants to look at properties when everybody else is off, and we're working, and, when you got a family, that's been the biggest struggle because, they'll have, soccer games and band competitions and all this stuff. So it's definitely, takes everybody in the household supporting the one that has to work home weekends and holidays for the most part. But that's probably been my biggest struggle is trying to be a juggle of that and be a good dad. And, about the market, we hit, 2009, 2010 when we hit the down market. And I'll be honest, what you do at that point, you know that it's coming or you feel it's coming. So therefore, you need to, be aware of, what are you going to do more different kind of business at that point? You got to cater to the actual what the market is doing. And I'll go with the short sale, what we did. And, in 2011, 12, 13, for the most part, probably 80% of our business was short sale business. And, and that's how we survived because we figured out another way to drum up business because a lot of people weren't selling because their houses wouldn't appraise and, the market was kind of just, flat, and they were upside down and all that kind of stuff. So everybody was short selling because people were losing their jobs and all that stuff. So it looks like we're out of that. I think I did about 1 last year. So it's definitely even out market. But that's down markets are good in a way because it weeds out the the not so great agents that sometimes we have to deal with. And this job is a full-time job, and people take it seriously. They will make money, but it takes time and devotion, and everybody has to sacrifice to make that happen. And it's just a full-time job. I got the best advice I ever got from my first broker, and I told her, I said, well, Annie, I said, I thought, I'd do this part-time. I said, I've got a family. I don't want to, jump the gun and be 100% commission right off the bat. And she says, never go to work expecting full-time pay for part-time work. And I sat there for a minute and think about what she was saying. And that's kind of like how I built the brand is I'm a full-time agent, call me. This is what I do full-time. This is how I support my family. Because, 80% of the agents don't work here full-time. They they work it part-time or they don't work it at all. But it's hard to adjust to, being 100% commission if you're the head of the household. So it's definitely a struggle, but you do it. You figure out ways to make it work, and then it works. If you do it 100% of the time, 40 to 50 hours a week, sometimes more than that, then you should make money if you do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, I think you made two really good points there. I think the first one was that even when a market potentially is, a down market when it comes to real estate, or any market, any business, there's going to be highs and lows. And I think what you said was important is you had the low, but you found a way around it. You said, okay, well, we're gonna readjust a little bit. So now we're going to focus on these foreclosures. So, well, we can't necessarily push maybe the listing side and selling. We're going to help people with the short selling at least, and become good at that, and help people, and then ride that wave until that goes out, and then you kind of, and I think every business kind of has those kind of cyclical waves that you can tend to and to jump on and ride it to the next one. But I think it's always important that you're able to adjust and facilitate and move versus, jumping ship and running another direction.
Yep, absolutely. And that's key, is because, the down market will come again. You just got to be prepared when it comes that you've adjusted and makes, changes in your staffing and all that stuff. But, it'll come again in maybe a few years, but it'll definitely come again. I'll see it in my career still, I'm sure at that point. But it's just, stay focused. And I always say, if you do what you do and you do everything that needs to be done as far as helping the client out, you'll never go wrong if they will prefer your business. And you start that facilitation right off the bat when you meet with them. You start having dialogue with them and saying, I hope you're happy with what I'm doing and the services I've performed and all that stuff. And that way, they will refer you business. I probably got 50 clients of my top referral clients that they prefer me probably at least, 5 clients, 5 sellers or buyers a year at least. Some of them more than that, because they trust that I'm going to take care of their family and friends. I've got one client right now that his sister is an agent. He won't even use her because he says, I don't want her to know my business, but she's not that great of an agent. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, no, that speaks volumes for what you do for your customers. So you kind of, you've talked about, some of your attributes and traits and stuff, and I kind of, get a feeling where this is going. But what keeps you going though? So say obstacles come up and things like that. Why don't you give up on things? Why do you keep driving forward?
Well, I have 2 people depending on me. I have two girls, and one's 14 and one's 22. And she's just going to graduate from the University of Georgia. That's one reason it keeps me going. But just them, that's my why. At Keller Williams we say, why do you do what you do? You got to have a why, because if you don't have a why, then you're not going to be out to do it. So that's been my pushing point for the last 15 years. Is I'm doing it for them, and they know it and they appreciate it, and so that's you just keep going. I mean, if you got to support them being a single dad, so it's definitely so why I keep going and doing what I'm doing, because I want to make sure that they have a decent life and they understand there's sacrifices to be made, and they've made them for the most part, but. It's worked out great. It's been a great career.
Yeah, and I think what you said there is important for everybody to really hone in on, that no matter what business you're in, whether it's real estate or anything else, but to really have that why, to have that passion, that driving force of, why are you getting up every day? Why are you putting in those extra hours? Why are you working on holidays and time where everybody else is having fun? If you're truly driven and you have a passionate why, then you're going to want to do. It's not work to you. It's just like, hey, I'm doing this, and there's a higher calling to it, and I think that's really important to point out to people.
Well, typically, when I hire staff, the first couple of days they're here, I make them come in and put a poster board up, and I give them a homework assignment, and I say, go home and tell me, put why you want to do this job, and put the pictures of why, whether it be a vacation or it may be a special trip somewhere or whatever, and that's going to be your motivation to get it done this year. It's going to be, those are your goals, and that's why you're going to do what you need to do. Every time you look at that poster, it's going to give you more motivation because you did it, not me. So it kind of works out great.
No, I think that's great, a vision board. We talk about that a lot with different guests on the show, and I think it's great to visualize and to really, have a clearly defined outcome of, okay, yeah, like you said, here's why I'm coming in, and here's why I'm putting these hours in, and whether it's a family or it's other trips or vehicles or houses or things for yourself, to have that vision board to be able to look and if you're having that downtime, if you're having a bad day, to look up and say, okay, yep, all right, I got to refocus, get in the right mindset, and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, because if you got that behind you, you'll do anything. You'll walk through the fire just about if you got your wine straight.
Excellent. So what do you think your vision is for your career, say, over the next 5 years?
Well, my vision is because I don't have to work as much. That would be my vision, because I just now started hiring a team. I've got one buyer's agent right now and a part-time assistant. I'm looking at hiring another buyer's agent. I guess to work less hours, instead of trying to do it all. Not that I don't love what I do, but, I'd love to get down to like 50 hours a week instead of 70. But, my goal is to, step back and be a more of, the one that goes out and the rainmaker, I guess, so to speak, and not do so much of the actual day-to-day operations. Go out and meet with builders and go out and meet with, different people to drum up more business for the team, because that's going to keep them going. And that's really what the team leader should be doing, is doing more of the going out, marketing the team and making sure that we've got business to keep everybody busy and that kind of stuff. But my goal is to work less, and take it easy for a while, because I'm getting old, and it's been it's been fun, but working 70 hours a week is not that cool sometimes. But you do what you got to do. But yeah, I think my goal is to work at least 10 or 15 hours less a week over the next few years, and who knows, I may retire. I can't ever tell if I could team build. I like to get to level 7, is what we call it, Keller Williams. When you get to level 7, you're able to walk away from the business and it runs itself. And I'm about at level 3 right now, so I got some work to do on the next 5 years to get there. But we're going to do our best to get it done.
Excellent. So you mentioned referrals obviously is a big way that you continue to grow. You treat people right, and you even have people that have agents in the family, and then they come to you because they want that kind of level of support. So, outside of that, what do you feel the best way you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can continue to grow and kind of move towards, say, a level 7?
Well, we typically, I'll be honest with you, when I started in this business, I really haven't changed that much for my basic marketing stuff that I do. We stay in touch with our clients. We touch them physically. They get something from us, every quarter at least. We do a lot of drop-ins and taking stuff to some of our top referral clients. We take them they love my salsa for some reason, so I take them salsa and we hand deliver it to their house and do stuff like that, just to kind of stay on the forefront of their mind, and that, kind of shamelessly for furnace business, I guess, so to speak. But we do stuff like that, and we mail out flower seeds every year. People call me asking where their flower seeds are, where their calendars are, and stuff like that. But that's the key, is just staying in touch with them and just make sure that you stay on the forefront of their mind and just ask them for the business. I think a lot of times we don't ask people for the business. We sit right there. I went on a phone the other day, and I'm sitting there, and the guy's interviewed 3 other agents, and he says, and I asked him for the business. I said, I'm ready here to do business. I've got the listing agreement here. I've got the sign in the car. I've got the lockbox ready to go. And he said, so I'm going to sign with you, because he says, you're the only ones asking for the business. So I think a lot of times we don't ask for the business, which is crazy to me. That's why you're there. But, we stay in close contact. We do what we're going to say. We market the house at the top levels that we can. We go in there. A lot of times we go in there and we help them. We'll landscape the yard and get things going with them, and be their one-stop shop agents. So when we walk the house, sometimes I'll take everybody on the team and we walk the house initially, and we get everybody. So if it needs painting, we make sure that the painters are there. Give them quotes, and if it needs landscaping, we make sure they're there. So basically, I have a whole team that satisfies almost every need of each client to what they may have. Because if you sit around and wait for the seller to call all these people, you'll be waiting forever. But that's key. I think do what you say you're going to do. Be there to support them, and just take the ball and run with it. Because a lot of times the sellers even don't know. It may be their second or third home they sold. They still don't know it, because we do it every day. So we try to take all that stress off of them and do what we say and get things done and make it easy on them. And that's how we can make this business work.
Yeah, I think 2 things that you mentioned there that are key to kind of highlight is, the first is, front of mind. If you're listening as a listener, you always want to stay front of mind with people, because, that could lead to a referral, that could lead to something down the road. They may not be ready to sell their house now, or they may not know anybody, but if you stay front of mind with little things, like Jerome said here, he makes a salsa, there's other physical things. They try to touch everybody at least once a quarter, so you're front of mind, right? So you're there, and they know, and then we're going to be thinking, oh, hey, I got a family member calls and says we're selling our house. They're going to say, call Jerome, right? Because he's front of mind. I think the other thing that you pointed out was key is just being able to facilitate and take care of everybody's needs, right? Because, like you said, the seller, they're just thinking, I just want to sell my house. And like you said, there's other things involved, landscaping, the presentation, staging, painting, things like that can help them get more value. But a lot of times they don't think, you could put it on them, but then, like you said, it might not get done. But if you got a team of people, you got the resources to say, hey, we got the landscaper coming in, we got the painter coming, here's all the quotes, let's go with this guy, let's get it done, let's get him in there. Or you're going to facilitate it, and you're going to get things done a lot quicker, and that homeowner is going to be happier because you took care of their needs and you addressed everything, and potentially you can maybe get them more money for their house and sell it faster.
And I think if you'll just listen to the actual seller when you're going through a listing presentation and just listen to them what their needs and wants are, and if you can justify what you're saying and what you're wanting them to do, then they understand clearly. I was at a house on Tuesday last week, and we couldn't figure out why this house wasn't selling. And it's great. They've done everything in the world to the house. So I said, something's wrong with this curb appeal. It has no curb appeal. So I went over to Lowe's and got flowers. I told them, I said, I'll be at your house at 6:30 tonight. I need everybody to help me because I got 3 kids to help us. So I took flowers and shovels and stuff, and we got out there and we started, planting flowers and putting some curb appeal in there. And they had 2 big bushes in front of the house. And I said, you need to take those bushes down. Well, you thought I said you need to chop your arm off for one of your kids, the way they looked at me. And I said, no, seriously, take them down. Because they're hiding from the front porch. And literally, we took those down, and the house just like a totally different house in the front at that point. So you got to take it back, and you got to really justify what you're saying, what you're talking about doing, because they don't understand that they have been thrilled ever since then. And even the neighbors say, wow, your house looks different now. You cut down the shrubs. So you just got to put a different hat on when you do that. And a lot of times they'll challenge you. Sellers will challenge you because they're overwhelmed with all the stuff they need to be doing. And if you take that burden off of them, and I tell them, I'll say a lot of things, some things you'll know, some things you'll never know. Because if you don't need to know, I'm not going to tell you. If you need to know, I'll tell you. And that if you do it that way, then, it makes it 10 times easier on people. And, I had another client call me the other day and went on listening for me. And the first thing out of the mouth when I got there, Stacy and Danny told us to do exactly what you say you're going to do, and you could sell our house. And I said, well, we'll try. So a lot of times if it's a referral, they've already set them up. That, if you do what he says, if you do what he tells you to do, you're going to sell your house. So it works out pretty good.
Yeah, and I think the other point, too, you made previously was to ask for the sale. Like you said, other agents have been in front of people, and I'm sure, even outside of real estate, other salespeople may have visited a prospect or a client, and they didn't ask for the sale. And, just the bottom line is you asked for the sale. You said, hey, I'm ready to go. I got the signs. I got the lockbox, everything ready to go. Let's go. And they said, absolutely. Nobody else even asked for my business, even though they probably showed up and gave a whole listing presentation. They took the time, but they didn't go that extra, little mile there and just say, hey, can I have your business? That's what I do.
And it amazes me when agents do that. But a lot of times, what you got to realize is a lot of these people, going into this business have not either been in the workplace before, or they've got another career that they're doing. They're doing this part-time, so they don't get the training and the scripts and stuff like that teaches them how to combat that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you got to go in there and know what you know and talk about it and be educated about it, because they're wanting to listen. And as long as you can justify what you're saying or prove you is right for what you're saying, 9 times out of 10 they will do exactly what you tell them to do. I mean, they really will. But if you go in there all scattered and you're not sure about what's going on in the neighborhood and they start asking questions and they know more than you know, then you're in trouble, because you're going to get booted out the door for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with real estate, I think there's misconceptions and myths, So what do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent is?
They know more than they do. You're talking about the actual sellers or the client? The client?
Well,
the client. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying in general, the misconceptions people have about working with an agent. So probably mostly from a seller standpoint, some people I think that, I think it's, they just assume that, I'll just put a sign up, I'll sell it myself. It's a good market, right? Everybody's saying it's a good market. So, what's that, what do you think the biggest misconception about that is, what are the major benefits, I guess, of working with an agent?
Well, the funny thing is, they don't know what they're doing. That's the funny thing is. And the first thing that a for sale owner will get with a potential buyer is, okay, so you're not paying commission, so let me take, 6% off the sales price right off the bat. And then there's other issues that will come up. It's a way too personal to try to sell your own house when you've lived there and little Johnny's grown up there, little Susan's grown up there, and you try to sell it because he's too personal. See, with an agent, the agent goes agent to agent and gets the job done because it's not really personal to them. It is, but it isn't. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, it's probably 95% of the time, we get more money than they can get on their own for trying to sell it themselves because they're not educated and they don't do it every day. You know, and I had a client the other day try to negotiate his own deal without me, and when I got talking with him, we ended up getting a cash offer from another buyer. Well, he had already negotiated this other deal on his own and didn't include me on it, so he shot himself in the foot because what happened was he struck the deal with the potential buyer that ended up buying the property, and the buyer that we had was going to pay cash for it walked because he wasn't going to wait. So they don't wait on the property. So a lot of times sellers think that they know more than the agent does, but if you go in there and you add value to what you're saying, they really don't want to sell it themselves when it comes down to it. But they think they can save $1 but they're not saving any money. But if you can go in there and justify this is how you can get things done and this is what you do for them, they'll listen. But in this market right now, it's a seller's market right now. And we see a lot. I've seen a lot more for sale by owner signs than I've seen in a long time. And people are trying that. But another thing they run into is who they're letting in their house. Who are they letting in their house? They're taking the phone calls directly. They're Johnny's going to show up psycho killers, and they're going to let him in the house. And the husband's on a business trip. So they let a total stranger in the house that they know nothing about. And there's no way to track them down because there's no lockbox and there's no tracking system. So that's probably the number one thing that I would say for anybody that's thinking, sell it themselves is just think of the safety of your family just by itself. Is it worth the 6%? Or, to get the job done correctly and watch over your house and make sure we know who's coming in and out of your house? Or he could be there staking in the house that can come back and rob you later. You never can tell. That's the biggest thing. I don't think sellers actually think about that part of it. But if you call the seller directly, they're going to say, come on over. Well, who are they letting in their house? They don't know. It's crazy. I would never even think about it. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't an agent.
Yeah, I think that's a key point that you made there. Amongst all the other issues with, like you said, transactional paperwork and legalities and any issues like that, and then you had that perfect example of somebody that negotiated an offer without you, and then they end up losing a better cash offer because they thought they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they didn't put the clause in there. They didn't put a clause in there that says, that they have the first right of refusal to kick out if they get another offer. Simple to me because I do it every day, but not simple to the actual seller that thought he knew more than the agent. And he apologized to this day about it because he's like, I messed it up. And I said, you're right, you did. And so it's just crazy, but he messed it up. So he ate crow on that one, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's kind of a hypothetical question, but let's say you get a call from a family member in another state. Let's say you got a family member up north by chance, say New York or Pennsylvania. They're sick of the cold weather. They're sick of the snow. They want to sell their home. They want to move down. They say, hey, you know what, Jerome, we're coming down near you. We want to move down to Georgia where it's warmer. What advice would you give them about selecting an agent that you think could best serve their needs?
Up there or here?
Up there. If they were to select an agent up where they are to sell their home.
I would tell them that I would find them an agent up there to help them out, that I would do the screening process for them because we've got 120,000 agents nationwide right now, so I'm sure that we could find someone that helps them sell their home and get it sold as quickly as possible and get things done. So, it's definitely a huge referral network. So they're working we work in a family, so we call it KW to KW agent. And it's easy to get things done because we're pretty well trained for the most part in the business, better than anybody else as far as I'm concerned. But, we can definitely do that. And then when they get down here, we'll take a run with it, and we know the areas better than anybody else. So I've lived here all my life, so I definitely know just about all the areas that may appeal to their needs.
So you mentioned like screening process. What is that? What are the kind of things you would look for in the ideal agent? Even though we understand, Keller Williams, but obviously, there's agents that can just go out and, take a test, and next thing you know, they're an agent. Mm-hmm. So what kind of screening? What kind of things would you look for? What kind of characteristics or qualities, or what would your screening process be like?
Well, I think you got to find out the profile of your seller up there. You know what I'm saying? Because different people, you got to know almost like their personality and what they do for a living. Because if you start doing, and what's important to them, when you first do the screening process for the actual seller first, and you find out what's important for them, how do they like their last agent, or what do they did not like about the last agent, how do they want communication, what do they think needs to be done, and all that stuff. Because a lot of times what they think needs to be done is totally opposite of what we think they need to do. Or they done it, they said they've done it, they have to do it again. So you kind of just touch the situation and you find out who's happy about the relocation. Is it the buyer happy? If so, I mean, is it, Mrs. Buyer, or the husband, or the wife, or the kids, or who's ever not happy? So you kind of feel to that, and you let that agent know going in there, this is what you're walking into. Because I think a lot of times we just do a referral and we don't do any kind of background check or give us a scoop of what's going on there. We walk right into be side blinded, and it's not fun to be done that way because you're not prepared. But if you go in there prepared, saying that the wife's happy about going, the husband's not happy about going, the kids are unhappy about going, and this is their concerns about moving down, this is concerns about listing their house. I think it's just sitting down with that seller and finding out what their needs is, and you sit down and you can call the broker up in that area and you tell them, this is what I've got in this situation. Who is your best agent that's going to take care of this client for me? And kind of go that route.
Excellent. So let's say somebody wants to, they need an agent in your area. Obviously, you service, the Atlanta area. Where can someone find out more information about you? What's the best way that you could help them out and where they can contact you?
They can contact us at 678-631-1788, or they can contact me email at Jerome, Jerome, J is in Joseph, Smith, at kw.com.
Excellent. And just to clarify, that number was 678-631-1788?
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. And so we obviously want to take a second here to thank Jerome, obviously, for coming on the call with us and sharing, your business experience with all of our listeners here today. If you want to learn more about Jerome and how he can help you, there'll be a link below this video where you can go to his site, as well as we'll post his email and phone number that he gave us here today. So with that said, everybody, thank you again for joining us for another episode of our show. And obviously, Jerome, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here today.
Enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, until next time, have a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks for listening to Real Estate Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading real estate industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at realestateinnovatorsradio.com today.